Hello everybody, this is Roller from Winter Bros. In this module, we're going to discuss basic math required for scripting with Daz Studio. The first thing we're going to discuss is how to assign values to numeric and string variables that you might declare within Daz Studio for your scripting code. So let's go to Daz Studio and show you that. So once you've opened up the Script IDE, you can just click in there, and what we're going to do is we're going to show you first how to do a numeric variable. So you're first going to use the declaration var, saying it's going to be a variable, and then we'll give it a name. And we previously discussed some of the prefixes that you should use. So we're going to use n jacks for number of jacks, and we're going to say this is going to be equal to 3. So once we hit enter, we've created a variable. When we're in the script, it'll create a variable called n jacks, and it'll give it a value of 3. So if you want to create a string variable, it's almost the same process. And of course, the naming conventions, you can use whatever you want. We just have the preferred prefixes. So we're going to create a string variable that's called sname, and we're going to put a value of it of Dazzy, encapsulated with quotes. Oh, I'm sorry, we put a T in there. And there you go. Now we've created, when this script runs, it'll declare two different variables, one with the number 3 in it and one with the word Dazzy. And we'll go a little further real quick. And we'll go ahead and put the, we'll put a print in here. And we will just say, and we will run the script. Let me pull this bar up here so we can see everything. And we'll hit F5 to run the script. And you see down here that is print the 3 and it's printed the Dazzy, the two variables that we put to print njax and sname. Now, of course, if you want to change these variables later on in your script, this was how to assign them. So if you want to change them later on, you would just add a line where you want to reassign the value. So njax equals 7. And let's say we want to change our name to sname is going to be equal to, how about bye-bye? And then, of course, we'll just copy this line really quick so we don't have to type it again. We'll put it down here. So once we run this script again, so you can see F5 is the way to run the script. You can see here it's wrote 3 and Dazzy at the bottom in the panel down here, and you can see 7 and bye-bye, it's changed. So if you want to change your variables on the fly within your script, once you've declared them, you can just change our values. So next, we'll move over to an overview of strings and how to declare your strings, which we kind of showed you that anyway, but we'll show you some stuff about the quotation marks that you might want to know. When you're declaring a string variable, you can use either a single or double quotes to encapsulate your information you want. So we'll show you that really quick. Here we'll use a single quote, and we'll just put on here a little message, hello love, and then we'll just print that really quick. Yes, greeting is going to be our variable name. So we'll just go ahead and run the script with F5. And you see at the bottom it says hello love. It actually printed this string for us. You can use single or double quotes. We'll go ahead and use a double quote up here to demonstrate. We'll run it again. We'll run F5. Of course, you can see it. You won't let me clear it out. Let's. It did it again. Hello, love. Now, we recommend you use the double quotes. You can see how it kind of turned the text to red. But if you do need to, it doesn't care which one you use. But let's say we want to put quotes around love, double quotes around love. So if we use a single quote on the outside, we can use a double quote on the inside, so we'll actually print those double quotes when they're output. So now if we run again, you'll look down here in the panel, you'll see it says hello, but the love has actually got the double quotes around it. And the next thing we're going to move on to is some of the operations for mathematical operators, like the plus, the minus, the divide, and the multiply. So we'll go back to our njax example. We've declared the variable njax. And what we're going to do is show you that you can actually, here's how you use the plus operator. Let's say we want to make njax equal to 3 plus 7. So you would actually just use the plus. And then, of course, we can print it so that you can see the actual results down the panel. So if we run the script, you'll see down there it printed 10, which is 3 plus 7. And we've gone ahead and typed in. You can see to use subtraction, you'd use the minus sign. To use division, you use the /. And of course, multiplication, we use in the star. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and run this script really quick so that you can see at the bottom. You see 3 plus 7 is 10. You'll see here 3 minus 2 is going to equal to 1. Of course 3 divided by 2 is going to equal to 1.5. And of course 3 times 6 is going to be equal to 18. So basically the basic math operators will be addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication using these 4 characters. Next we'll quickly cover fractions and how to use them when you're scripting in Daz Studio. So since Daz Studio actually uses a decimal point system, you can't actually write fractions as 1 over 4 or 3 over 17 like in this example. So you sometimes might need to know the decimal value for an actual fraction that you want to use in your code. So basically all you would do is divide it out within the script, in your code within the scripting environment so that you can see what it is. So here we got 3 divided by 17. So we'll just go ahead and run that. And you can see this is down the bottom. Here's the actual decimal variable, 0.1764, blah, 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 blah. So if you need to know the decimal value for a fraction that you want to use within your scripting code, just divide it out and you can use it that way. The next thing we're going to show you is how to combine strings to form new data within Daz Studio scripting. In this first demonstration, you can see here we've declared a variable called sGreeting and we put the text hello in it. And on the second line we put sGreeting equal to itself, sGreeting plus Johnny. We're going to say, so we want to say hello Johnny when it gets done, and then we'll print it. So let's go ahead and execute the script and see how it looks. And you can see at the bottom it actually printed hello Johnny. But we're gonna go one step further. We're going to show you how you can actually, we'll change this. We're going to change the variable here to sname equals Johnny. And we'll just go ahead and type this up and then we'll show you when we finish. So what we wanted to show you here was that you can actually, oops, we didn't put declare here. Sorry, we got to declare out with var. So we actually declare 2 variables, sGreeting and sname, for hello and Johnny. They're separate variables. And here we create a new variable called sayit, and we want to add these 2 together. You can see it says equals sGreeting plus sname. So we're going to go ahead and print that. So let's go ahead and execute the script and see what it looks like at the bottom. And you see we got the same exact results. It says hello Johnny. It actually combined those 2 to make this new variable called sayit. So if you notice there was no space between the hello and Johnny at the bottom. So what we'd have to do is actually in this line where we declare the sayit, we'd have to input a quote space quote for a character which is a space and another plus sign. So now it'll be sGreeting plus a space within quotes plus sname. And let's go ahead and run that again and see what it looks like. There you go. Now it says hello space Johnny at the bottom, which is a little more readable and what we want for output. Okay, in this quick demonstration, we're going to show you, we've been using the plus sign to combine different strings, but we also want to show you that you can't just use all the operators with strings. So in this demo, it looks like we're going to try to take guys off of the end of the string that says hello guys. See, we declared hello guys up here, and we're going to try to take guys off the end of it with a minus sign. And we just want to show you that this is what's going to happen when you run this script. So let's go ahead and execute it. And you'll see down here that it says NaN, which within Daz Scripting stands for not a number. So the minus sign is restricted mostly to numbers. So you can see here it doesn't work with strings. So for the most part, the only operator you can use with strings would be the plus sign, at least for now. So in this next segment, we're going to show you how to increment and decrement numeric values without having to actually subtract values. So in this example, what you might typically say is we declared a variable in gold coins here with a value of 5. We want to add 1 to it. So we put another line in gold coins equals itself in gold coins plus 1. So we'll go ahead and execute the script, and you'll see at the bottom it actually put the value of 6, which is what we wanted. However, in Daz Scripting, you can use the increment and decrement, so you don't have to make the string quite as long. So if you wanted to increase or decrease the value, you could do it with the plus plus and the minus minus operators, and you could do it on a line by itself, or you can actually do it inside the print. So here, let's say we put the plus plus at the end of in gold coins on the print line. It says basically take this variable and add 1 to it with the plus plus. So if you run the script again, you see that, oh, I'm sorry, hang on a second. Depending on which side, if we run this line again, let's go ahead and copy and paste it. Okay, and then we take out the plus plus. What it does is, The plus plus can be used before or after the variable, and in this case it's after, so it says once it's used the variable, increment it by 1 with the plus plus. So we'll do another print down here to show you how that works. So we'll go ahead and run this script again, and you see it first printed the 5 because it was a value of 5, and then it added 1 to it with this plus plus, and then for the next time it was used, which was the next line, it actually made it a 6. So you can increment the value of a variable after you've used it, or you can increment it before you've used it. So here we'll go and put it beforehand, and we'll run the script again. And of course we think it's beforehand, so it should become a, oops, one too many, sorry. So this 5 should become a 6, and then of course just be a 6 again. So let's run it, and there you go. Sure enough, we got a 6 and a 6. So you can also decrement the value by 1 using the minus minus. So we'll just put that in there for substitution, and it'll decrement before we use it. So this should become 4 and 4. So we'll run that again, and there it is at the bottom, successfully 4 and 4. Or we could decrement after the fact. So after we use ingoing coins in this line, we could say decrement the value by 1. And if we run again, it should show 5 and then 4. And there it does. So you can increment by 1 or decrement 1 by using the plus plus or the minus minus. And you put it before it if you want the decrement or increment to happen before the variable is used. You put it after the variable name if you want it to be done after the variable is used. And next we're going to cover how to combine assignment and operation of variables within Daz Scripting. And another way to decrease the length of your code, we can combine certain operations. We can combine the add with the equals, the minus with the equals, the multiply with the equals, or the divide with the equals. They all work in this fashion, but we're just going to demonstrate here. So what you normally might do here is you might put njax equals njax plus 3 to increase its value by 3, and you see how we had to type njax twice. And we'll go ahead and run this and show you down here at the bottom. It started with value 1 and now added 3, so it became a 4. But in Daz Scripting, you can shorten your code up a little bit. So what you can do, instead of saying add njax to itself plus 3, you can rewrite this code with by putting the plus here, and then just taking the you can take this code off. So you can and it looks a little strange, just plus equals, but that's a combined operation with an assignment. So njax, you're going to do an add of whatever is after the fact and put it back into njax. So when you run this again, you'll see we've got a value of 4 again at the bottom. And it's kind of odd, but you can also use the minus operator here with the equals. You can use the times, which we'll show you that one really quick. Let's go ahead and do the multiplication one. Let's go ahead and run the script. So 3, it was njax is 1 times it. So njax times 3 is going to still equal 1, and put it back into njax. So the value goes back into the variable that's used in the combination. Now, it looks a little strange, but you can do that to shorten your code so you don't have to type quite as much. And once you get used to it, you'll like it. And as in all languages, there is a certain precedence that if you use multiple operators on a line, that it's going to take place. So we're going to cover the precedence of operators for mathematics within Daz Scripting. So in this example, we're just going to use the print, and you can see we got 1 plus 5 times 3. So there's a certain order for the precedence and how it happens. So let's go ahead and run this and see what you might think the example 1 plus 5 times 3 is going to give you as a result at the bottom. And within Daz Scripting, it gives us 16. Now if you went across the line, you may think 1 plus 5 is 6, times 3 would have been 18. However, within Daz Scripting, the precedence of these different operators is first it starts with any grouping you create with parentheses, which we'll cover in the next section. Then the next thing is going to be multiplication. So all multiplications on a line happen first. And then after multiplications, it's the divisions, then the additions, and then subtractions. So whenever you string out a line of operators to combine some values, you got to remember it's going to be the grouping, whatever's grouped by parentheses, first will take place. And within all that, it's going to be the multiplication, then the division, the addition, and then the subtraction. So you need to know that so that you can make sure that your values that you're expecting to come out, like here you might have thought it's going to be 18 but it only came out 16. That could really throw your code off if you expected it to be 18 and 16 came up. And lastly, we're going to show you how to group math operations using the parentheses so that they come out the way that you expect them to. So we're going back to our example here. So if we really wanted the 1 plus 5 to happen first, So inside there we can actually group those together with a set of parentheses. So you can see here now the parentheses take precedence. So anything in the parentheses part here is going to happen first. So the 1 plus 5 will happen before anything else. So that'll become 6. And then it'll multiply that value times 3, whatever results. So we'll go ahead and run it this time, and we'll show you if it comes out. And sure enough, it became 18 at the bottom, which is what we expected. So when you're doing mathematical functions in a line, or with anything, the print or assigning it to a variable, just remember that the groupings come first with parentheses, then multiplication, then division, then addition, and then subtraction. Here's a recap of all the topics that we discussed in this module. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope you look forward to other presentations coming up in the Scripting Made Simple series. Once again, we appreciate your patience going over some basic math for scripting in Daz Studio. Have a good day.